This Week with Tim Russ.
People who are on the same TV show fight with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we just don't get to see it very often. But we had this nice moment here on Twitter. It happened about 4 days ago. And as we know, Tim Russ, who played Tuvok on Voyager, is very political. Super duper left-wing political.
Right.
And although less so, Robert Beltran, who played Chakotay, is pretty much on the right-hand side of things. So when these two giants clash, Twitter things happen. So Brian, tell us what happened here.
Yes, Tim Russ posted an image that says, "Your daily reminder that fascism is much worse than inflation." I mean, I guess technically he's right.
Sure. Such a left-wing thing to say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess fascism is definitely worse than inflation. Like, it's like saying, like, listen, the children dying is worse than getting less chips in your flaming hot bag. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Yeah.
Wait. So what he's saying is, and I love this because what Tim is saying here is that the Democrats are taking responsibility for inflation as long as the Republicans remember that they're fascists.
Right.
That's kind of what he's saying here, right?
Yeah.
So what does Robert say?
Robert Beltran, a.k.a. Chakotay, says, "Oh, 2 reasons not to vote Democrat. Thanks, Tim."
Okay.
I didn't even realize it was him when I first saw the tweet. I'm like, oh, that's sort of funny. And I'm like, oh my God, that's Chakotay.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because he kind of cleans it up a little bit. Like he says, couldn't resist taking the Mickey out of my old buddy in jest. Inflation is hurting millions of people, and fascism can prosper when you have a uniparty, neither Democrat nor Republican, governed unchecked. The American people are smart enough to sort out what is best for them. That's Robert Beltran cleaning that up. Because the reality is, I don't know how Robert sits exactly, but that's the answer that's appropriate. Like, both sides can be responsible for fascism. And you actually can look, depending on what side of the aisle you're on, you can look from a Republican point of view or a Democratic point of view and look at the other side and go, oh, they're fascists.
Right.
Like you can almost see how both sides are fascists.
Right. Well, I mean,
way.
I would argue that fact checkers are fascist.
Right. Yes. And we don't know exactly who they are, but yes.
We have no idea who they are. We have no idea.
But whoever has control or authority and tries to make it authoritative, since the Democrats want to have, the media is lined up behind them, that's very fascist in a way. And of course, maybe the rhetoric of the right, the far right, is very, has its own, elements of fascism. So it's kind of funny, depending on what side you're on, you're basically pointing this at the other people going, no, you're fascist. No, you're fascist. And it's kind of like this dumb thing. Like,
now in history, there were actual fascists.
Right. Yeah. Hitler was fascist. Mussolini was fascist. These are people who were actually fascist. And it's just an easy word to throw around. It's like it's another way of calling someone a Nazi. I mean, basically. So,
yeah, pretty much.
Which is, still a bad word all these years later. So, and for good reason. But yeah, I just thought it was funny that they kind of butted heads. You don't see this very frequently on Twitter. And so we felt like we needed to highlight it. We need to seriously consider a weekly Tim Russ segment because his tweets are something else, man. Just something else.
Robert Beltran is like really talking a lot in here too. He's like, we Americans are sometimes stuck with leaders we disagree with. We have elections that change their situations. I'm neither Republican or Democrat, conservative or liberal. Vote as you see fit. We have the freedom of thought in our country. Got to be honest, it's pretty much my identification too. So,
well, he's reasonable.
Right.
Be careful, you reasonable people out there, because you won't be listened to. So. Right.
Yes. And you know what? Look at it. Hey, Beltran has significantly less followers, and he ain't working. Tim Russ is still working. So
he's a voice actor mostly now.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So we should probably consider. Let us know, guys. Do you guys want a Tim Russ Unleashed weekly segment?
You know what we should do? Instead of a Tim Russ one, we should just do a Legends of Star Trek weekly Twitter section where we go through and find like the wackiest tweets from every person who used to be in Star Trek, bro.
It will not be hard.
It won't be hard. That would be fun. Let's do that.
Yeah.
The weekly. Wait.
The weekly wackly Star Trek characters on Twitter.
Your legacy tweets, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So what is next, my friend? I can close Twitter now.
What's going on over here? Let's see. Robert Beltran was just in the new episode of Prodigy, which dropped today. You're right. He is doing voice work for Prodigy.
Oh, fantastic.
Legends of Star Trek, please. See, I'm telling you, that's the one right there. Tuvok would be fun. Like, Tim Russ would be fun because he's crazy, right? But I think doing a weekly segment would be great. The Legends of Star Trek weekly tweets. Thank you, Anthony Mark.
Because he's crazy.
Because they're nuts.
Everyone except Shatner and Beltran unleashed. Oh, and speaking of which, a quick follow-up to our $1 billion fine for Alex Jones. Now it's $1 trillion.
Oh, I know, right? It's like keep adding to the next level.
That is, I thought I was reading it wrong or it was a typo.
What if they said $1 zillion? Do you think anybody
right.
like,
you know what?
Like, what is this, Looney Tunes?
Let's just go on $1 gazillion. At this point, it doesn't matter. There's no effing way on the planet this guy is paying back $1 trillion. Right, so make it whatever you want. Let's call him 45 gazillion Zarka bucks.
I think it's funny that somebody can pay $1 zillion or $1 trillion and not actually physically do anything to someone. Like, say a bunch of bad things, true, and do some terrible thing and have terrible things because you said it. Yeah, I get it. But holy cow, talk about wanting to like just destroy free speech. Like, this must be an agenda, like using this hyper, ridiculous one thing that occurred in our history to like crush this and then maybe find a way to crush free speech as well. What are the people who want to crush free speech thinking?
I'm sorry. Archmage Frey. If Alex Jones claims $1 trillion as a student loan, it will be forgiven. Boom. Game the system.
Biden be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Right. Damn it. You got us.
No, it's true. I just don't understand. Like, why wouldn't people like you hear all the time, like people on the far left don't really want free speech, or they want speech that's proper. They don't want anybody to say anything bad or whatever,
right.
Or so, but at what point do you have to realize that, in order for speech to be free, you have to be able to accept some bad things. I used to say when I was in the military, I'd see people burning the American flag and I'd be like, I support you burning the American flag because that's why I fight, so that you can make those decisions.
Right.
That's why I'm in the military, so that you can be free enough to do that, because there's some countries where they would have hung your ass.
Right.
So, but not this one.
Right. No, I would argue a lot of countries, not just some. But
that's what I'm saying is, like, most countries in the world wouldn't allow you to do that to their flag. They would kill you.
Right.
But in this country, you can. So the less freedom, the more you try to take away freedom, the less you're going to be able to be saying, taking away other people's freedoms.
The $1 trillion thing must be, hey, you know what? Look, everyone look at this. Stop talking.
Yeah.
It's an anti-free speech thing, really. It's like they're making a massive example of the dude. Atheist is right. The gun manufacturer settled for $70 million. Alex got $1 billion, and then now they want to make it $1 trillion. Matt Vader, I'll write a check.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, it won't be cashed, but yes,
you can cash it in the year 3087.
That's when inflation will be worth it. Like my $10 in my account will be worth $1 billion.
Right. Well, yeah, inflation. You ever see those like those smaller countries in like Africa when like they have really bad inflation, the dollar amounts on their bills are.
Oh, I've been there. Yeah. No, I've been to places where, like, literally in Venezuela,
right,
I'm pretty sure I had like $1 million to like my $1.
Right.
And then I'm like, whoa, these bills are huge. This has $1 million. They're like, yeah, that's like 50 cents. You can go buy a pork. Good job. I'm serious, man. It's like a Coke and a torta for $2
You could buy a
million.
Coke and a torta for $200 million.
True.